Welcome, dearly beloved anointed ones. Never underestimate the quiet one. They're usually the storm you were praying would never come. Someone just had the rudest awakening of their life. And guess who handed it to them on a divine silver platter without lifting a single finger? You. See, here's a psychological fact. Most people don't see the truth. They wait until it embarrasses them. That's when the mask falls, the ego stutters, and the memory of every time they doubted you hits them like spiritual whiplash. You told them who you were, repeatedly, not to brag but as a warning. And instead of listening, they laughed, they gossiped. They built whole personalities around pretending you were insignificant. But now, the irony is gasping for air. They're looking at you like a plot twist God wrote in bold letters. Everything they swore you'd never be, you've already become. And the look on their face, oh, priceless. It's the spiritual equivalent of trying to delete a text after you've already hit send. Let's just be honest, it's not just that they were wrong, it's that they were loudly wrong, proudly wrong, and publicly wrong. And now, the silence in their camp is louder than your clapback ever had to be. So buckle up, chosen one. Because today we're diving deep into that beautiful moment when someone realizes you are exactly who you said you were. And now they can't unsee it, and oh yes, they're humiliated. Let's get into it. Number one, they finally see the truth, but only after it cost them their mask. They finally see the truth, but only after it cost them their mask. For the longest time, they convinced themselves that you were pretending, that your confidence was fake, that your peace was just a front. They couldn't believe someone like you could actually be real, so they told themselves you were putting on an act, that you were overreaching, that you were trying to be someone you weren't. But the truth never needed to announce itself, it just waited, quietly, patiently. And now that mask they wore, the one built from pride, competition, and denial, has cracked beyond repair. They didn't just misjudge you, they built their entire identity around trying to diminish you. They needed you to be less than them. It was the only way they could feel important, the only way they could sleep at night. So they joked behind your back, rolled their eyes at your progress, and downplayed every little win you had. Now they're standing in front of the very truth they swore would never come to light. And it's burning. Not just because you turned out to be right, but because you didn't need to argue, chase, or prove a thing, you just kept walking. The same version of you they mocked is now the version everyone's drawn to. Your light doesn't just shine, it exposes. And that's where the humiliation cuts deepest. They weren't just wrong about you, they were wrong loudly. They treated the real thing like a fraud, and now the fraud is gone. But you're still here, elevated, unbothered, proven. They see it now, and there's no backpedaling from this kind of awakening. Their lies didn't just collapse, they collapsed publicly. And the one person they thought they had figured out is the one they now can't stop thinking about. That's what truth does. It doesn't just reveal, it rewrites everything, and now they're choking on the very disbelief they tried to feed you. Number two, your consistency exposed their performance. They were obsessed with looking the part while you were focused on becoming it. They showed off just enough to be praised by people who didn't know any better. Everything they did was performance-based, loud, calculated, and designed for applause. Meanwhile, you were in the background doing the work that nobody clapped for. The kind of work that takes patience, discomfort, and discipline. You weren't trying to impress anyone, you were just being true to who you were. And they thought that made you weak. They measured success by how many people were watching. You measured it by how many demons you defeated in silence. They thought your quiet consistency meant you were stuck or slow. But while they were sprinting in circles for attention, you were building something they didn't have the capacity to understand. Now that the dust has settled and the results are in, the difference couldn't be clearer. Everything they built with image has started to fade, the likes, the gossip, the illusions. It's all crumbling, because it was never rooted in truth. But you're standing on a foundation that doesn't shake. You didn't just make noise, you made impact. You didn't chase relevance, you created legacy. And that's why they feel humiliated. What's really eating them up inside is the realization that your slow, quiet, steady path outlasted their flashy shortcuts. They called you boring. They said you weren't moving fast enough. But you were moving in purpose, and now that your purpose is unfolding publicly, they're scrambling for explanations. They're trying to act unbothered, but deep down they're having to admit they got it completely wrong. You were never in a competition, you were in your calling. And they're realizing the person they treated like a footnote is actually the one writing the chapter they can't escape. That's not just a loss. They're mourning the version of themselves that truly believed they had it all figured out. Number 3. They mistook your purity for passivity, and now they're ashamed. They thought you were soft because you didn't fight dirty. They assumed you were naive because you didn't match their pettiness. You weren't loud, confrontational, or messy, so they convinced themselves you were weak. They couldn't see that your calm was actually strength, that your silence was self-control, that your peace came from power, not passivity. They didn't realize it then, but now it's starting to hit them in waves, and it's embarrassing. They treated your grace like a flaw. In their mind, if you weren't clapping back, crying for attention, or trying to prove your point, then you must not have had one. They didn't understand that you weren't quiet because you didn't have words. You were quiet because you had wisdom. You knew better than to waste your energy on people who were committed to misunderstanding you. Now the truth is starting to come out, and they're realizing just how far off they were. The same qualities they thought made you an easy target are the very traits that elevated you. You kept your head down, but your integrity stood tall. You didn't react, but you transformed. And now they're sitting with the reality that while they were trying to provoke a version of you that never showed up, you were becoming the version of yourself that can't be touched. What's humiliating to them is that they had every opportunity to see it. You were never hiding, you were just focused. You were growing in places they didn't look, healing in areas they never asked about. And now they have to admit they underestimated someone who was 10 steps ahead the whole time. They didn't just misread you, they disrespected you. And what stings the most is realizing that you weren't beneath them, you were beyond them. Now they're stuck with the shame of knowing they had front row seats to your evolution and still missed the whole show. Number 4. They laughed at the blueprint, but now want the house. They laughed at you like you were dreaming too big for your reality, like you didn't know your place. Every time you shared your vision, your ideas, or your plans, they smirked behind your back and rolled their eyes in front of your face. They said it couldn't be done, that you were too ambitious, too spiritual, too out there. They treated your purpose like it was a punchline, like you were living in fantasy while they were being realistic. But let's be honest, realism for them just meant fear in a better outfit. They couldn't see what you saw because they weren't called to see it. And instead of admitting that, they tried to tear it down. But what they didn't know is that your blueprint wasn't based on trends, opinions, or approval. It was divine, it was detailed, and most importantly, it was yours. While they were watching for your collapse, you were laying foundation, quietly, brick by brick. They didn't respect the early stages because they didn't recognize what true vision looks like in its rawest form. They didn't know the blueprint had already been stamped in heaven, so they laughed, they mocked, they threw doubt at every angle. But now, that same vision has turned into something real, something rooted, and they don't know how to process it. The path they said would lead nowhere has led to peace, purpose, and fruit they can't touch. Now they want to understand it. They're asking questions, trying to figure out how you did it. But here's the truth. They didn't laugh because it was unrealistic. They laughed because they knew you were onto something too big for them to grasp, and that scared them. Now they want the house, the peace, the alignment, the favor, but they don't have the blueprint because it was never theirs to build in the first place. And that's what humbles them the most. Number 5, their entire persona was built on denying you. This wasn't just about dislike, it was deeper than that. Some people crafted their entire sense of value around the idea that you wouldn't make it. You weren't just a person to them, you were the benchmark they used to feel superior. As long as you were struggling, confused, or doubting yourself, they felt like they had the upper hand. You were their comparison point, the one they secretly used to feel like they were ahead, more successful, more desirable, more in control. Your perceived failure wasn't just satisfying to them, it was necessary. They didn't hate you because you did anything wrong. They hated the threat of who you were becoming. Every time you showed resilience, they got nervous. Every time you held your peace, they grew unsettled. Deep down, they could sense something different about you, something sacred, something untouchable, and that terrified them. So instead of dealing with their own insecurity, they made you the villain in their inner story. They needed you to stay low, stay quiet, stay unsure of yourself, so they could keep feeling tall in their own illusion. But now that illusion is shattered. You've stepped into the fullness of who you are, and it's undeniable. And the part they can't handle is that your rise doesn't just lift you, it exposes them. Your truth has revealed just how fake their confidence was. It shows that their strength was always rooted in your silence. Now that you're shining, their identity is crumbling because it was never built on authenticity. It was built on keeping you beneath them. That's why your glow bothers them so much. Not because you're doing well, but because it forces them to face the truth. They were never really ahead. They were just banking on your doubt to keep themselves afloat. Now that you believe in yourself, their entire false image has nowhere to stand. And that's a humiliation they can't dress up or explain away. Number 6, your existence has become an unsolvable equation in their mind. They can't stop thinking about you, and not in admiration, but in confusion. You're the equation that refuses to add up in their mind. The version of you they built in their head doesn't match the reality that's unfolding in front of them, and it's driving them crazy. They keep replaying every conversation, every doubt, every insult they threw your way, trying to figure out how they got it so wrong. How someone they dismissed, ignored, or looked down on turned out to be exactly who they claimed to be all along. They can't accept that you weren't pretending, you were preparing. You weren't trying to look like something, you were becoming it. And that disconnect between what they thought of you and who you truly are is eating at them. It's not just embarrassment, it's mental torment, because now they're stuck trying to explain the unexplainable. How their certainty in your failure turned out to be the biggest miscalculation of their life. It haunts them that you didn't force anything. You didn't argue, you didn't try to convince them, you just lived. And now the proof is so loud it echoes. It's in your posture, it's in your peace. It's in the way doors opened for you that they swore would stay shut. They thought they were betting safe by doubting you. But that decision aged like spoiled milk. Every moment they rejected you now feels like a missed investment, and they're the ones paying the price. Not just with regret, but with the slow, painful realization that they misjudged someone who was authentic from day one. The more you evolve, the harder it becomes for them to justify how they treated you. They can't rewrite the past, but they're desperately trying to understand how their calculations failed. And that's the real torment. Knowing the person they threw away is now the answer they can't stop needing. And they'll never quite figure out how they let it slip through their hands. Number 7, they didn't just doubt you. They campaigned against you. They didn't just quietly disagree with you. They made it their mission to turn others against you. It wasn't enough for them to doubt you on their own. They needed an audience, a following, a little army of people who also couldn't see your light. They talked about you in group chats, threw shade in public, twisted your words and exaggerated your flaws. They planted seeds of doubt in people's minds before you even had a chance to speak for yourself. It wasn't personal growth they were after, it was character assassination. They couldn't understand your depth, so they tried to destroy your reputation. That's what insecure people do when they feel threatened by someone who doesn't beg for approval. You were never trying to compete, but they treated your existence like a threat to their image. And instead of dealing with their own discomfort, they tried to make sure nobody else would believe in you either. What they didn't expect was for the truth to speak for itself. Over time, your consistency started revealing what their noise tried to cover up. People who once believed the lies started watching closely, and what they saw didn't match the rumors. Slowly the story unraveled, and now the ones who cheered against you are awkwardly silent, because the truth has arrived, and it didn't need backup. Now they're not just wrestling with guilt, they're facing exposure. Their campaign wasn't just wrong, it was cruel. And the worst part? They did it out loud, boldly, repeatedly, in front of everyone. So now, they don't just owe you an apology, they owe the truth an apology. Because you didn't need to clap back. You didn't have to play dirty. You just stood in your truth until the lie collapsed. They didn't just get it wrong, they tried to bury something divine. And now that it's risen, they're the ones sitting in the dirt, trying to explain why they ever picked up a shovel. Number 8, you became the mirror they tried to avoid. They weren't just bothered by your growth, they were wrecked by the fact that you didn't have to become a different person to evolve. You stayed true to yourself the whole time. No gimmicks, no faking, no trying to fit into molds just to be accepted. And now the version of you they once brushed off has become everything they secretly wish they could be. That's not just uncomfortable for them, it's humiliating. They spent so much time shaping themselves around trends, approval, and fake identities, thinking that's what success or power looked like. Meanwhile, you were minding your business, choosing honesty over hype and alignment over attention. They didn't understand it then, so they dismissed you, but now they see it clearly, and it's too raw to ignore. You didn't have to chase validation to become valuable. You didn't switch up to get respect. You just kept showing up as you, and that consistency revealed just how scattered and hollow their own identity really was. What really stings is that your presence is now a mirror, one they can't escape. Every time they see you, they're forced to face the parts of themselves they've been avoiding. The insecurity, the shape-shifting, the need to be liked, the fakeness, it all starts to show in contrast to your groundedness. You didn't expose them on purpose. Your truth did that on its own. Just by existing as your full self, you revealed everything they were pretending to be. That's why they feel uneasy around you now. Not because you did anything to them, but because you remind them of everything they abandoned in themselves. You're not just evolved, you're whole. And that wholeness isn't loud or flashy, it's confronting. They spent years building an identity to impress people, and now they're watching you thrive without ever selling your soul. And that's a truth they can't copy, escape, or unsee. Number 9, their apologies would only serve their ego now. Now that you've elevated, they're circling back with soft voices and carefully chosen words, trying to make things right. But something about it feels off. It's not sincere, it's strategic. These aren't the apologies that come from reflection. They're not rooted in accountability. They're rooted in damage control. Because now that your truth is undeniable, they're realizing how bad they look for ever doubting you. And the apology? It's more about cleaning up their reputation than making peace with your soul. You can feel it. They're not coming to you in humility, they're coming in panic. They want to talk it out, not because they've grown, but because they've been exposed. They see people supporting you now. They see your power, your peace, your elevation, and suddenly they want to be seen clapping instead of criticizing. But where was that energy when you were isolated, when you were misunderstood, when they were the ones leading the whispers? It's not that they feel sorry for what they did. It's that they feel sorry they got it so wrong in front of so many people. Their pride is bruised, not their conscience. That's the part they'll never say out loud, but you can hear it between the lines of their sudden kindness. If you had stayed low, they wouldn't be apologizing, they'd still be smirking. But now that you've become undeniable, they're trying to rewrite history without owning what they did to try and erase you. You've grown too much to fall for it. You don't need closure that's just a cover-up. You don't need fake accountability dressed up as humility. Let them sit with their own reflection, because you're not bitter, you're aware. And that awareness protects you from mistaking manipulation for healing. You don't need the apology. The real justice is knowing that the same people who once doubted your value are now trying to reattach themselves to the truth they couldn't destroy. Number 10. They didn't expect God to co-sign you so loudly. They thought you made it all up. The vision, the calling, the inner conviction that told you to move differently, speak differently, live differently. They thought it was a phase, or worse, a fantasy. Because to them, anything not backed by popularity or proof was a joke. They needed to see success before they believed it was real. But what they missed, what embarrassed them the most, is that God had already co-signed you before the spotlight showed up. They underestimated the divine fingerprint on your life. They couldn't comprehend why you were so grounded, so clear, so sure of yourself without external validation. And because it didn't make sense to their natural eyes, they laughed. They mocked the way you spoke life over yourself. They rolled their eyes at your faith, your patience, your standards. They called you delusional because your blessing hadn't gone public yet. But now that everything is unfolding on time, in alignment with power they can't deny, they're choking on their own disbelief. It's not just your glow-up that's bothering them, it's the spiritual confirmation surrounding you. Doors you didn't force are opening. Opportunities are coming that you never chased. People are being drawn to you with no explanation. And the same people who once labeled you as too deep or too much are watching from the sidelines as everything starts falling into place in a way only God could orchestrate. What really messes with them is how obvious it is now. There's no denying it. You're not just successful, you're divinely positioned. And that kind of favor can't be bought, faked, or explained away. They're embarrassed, not because you made it, but because they failed to see what was right in front of them the whole time. Their spiritual blindness led them to mock what heaven had already approved. And now, every blessing you walk into feels like a sermon they can't mute. Not because you're preaching, but because your life is speaking, and God's voice is all over it. Number 11, you're not just the person they rejected. You're the lesson they're forced to learn. You weren't just someone they overlooked. You were the lesson they were supposed to learn. But they didn't. They rejected it. Rejected you. Not quietly either. They disrespected, misjudged, and labeled you in every way possible, all because they couldn't recognize the value standing right in front of them. They thought they were brushing off someone insignificant, when in reality, they were turning their back on the very mirror life handed them to grow. This was never just about pride. It's spiritual. It's karmic. You weren't placed in their path to be liked or accepted. You were placed there to reveal something about truth, about humility, about how real power moves. But instead of paying attention, they doubled down on ignorance. They clung to ego. And now they're stuck in a cycle of confusion, disappointment, and internal discomfort they can't explain because you were the key they refused to hold. What's worse for them is that time is proving everything you were, everything you said, everything you represented was legit. And now they can't move forward without circling back to the moment they discarded you. They can try to act like it never happened, but their spirit knows better. Their soul is restless, and it's not because you're still around. It's because your presence in their memory still carries weight. You didn't just pass through, you marked something. They can't close the chapter because it was never just a moment. It was a turning point, and they chose wrong. You were the lesson about humility they didn't want, the lesson about discernment they ignored, the lesson about divine alignment they laughed at. Now that your truth is front and center, they're stuck with the reality that they missed it. You're not revenge, you're reflection. And until they acknowledge what they missed in you, they'll keep repeating cycles trying to fill a gap that only truth can close. You're not just a person they rejected. You're the unfinished sentence they can't stop rereading. Number 12, you didn't fight for validation, you became the evidence. They thought you would crumble without their approval. They expected you to explain yourself, to beg for understanding, to shrink just enough for them to feel big again. They thought you needed validation to be valuable, but you didn't. You let them misunderstand you, mislabel you, and even laugh at you. And instead of trying to change their mind, you focused on changing your life. That's what throws them off the most. You didn't fight for their acceptance. You became the proof. Every area of your life started reflecting exactly what they denied. Your peace, your glow, your elevation, it's all evidence now. And not just surface-level success, but real inner transformation. That's what they can't handle. Because deep down, they know they had access to the real you and wasted it trying to make you feel small. What really haunts them now is that the same person they dismissed, doubted, and talked down to is the one they can't stop thinking about, the one they secretly admire, the one they now wish would look in their direction. But you're not looking back. You don't need to. You were never chasing them. You were chasing purpose. They once called you desperate, dramatic, too much. But now they see the truth. You were never asking for attention. You were walking in alignment. And now that your presence has become powerful without performance, they're left replaying every time they took you for granted. That's a kind of regret no apology can erase. You didn't need to shout your worth. You lived it. And now they're sitting in the silence they once demanded, realizing that the person they thought needed their approval is the very person who now makes them question their own. You didn't win them over, you outgrew the need to, and that's what hurts them most. They thought you were waiting for them. But you were becoming something they'd never be qualified to access again. Number 13, they wore a crown you were born with. They tried to wear what wasn't theirs. They studied you, copied you, even tried to walk like you, but the crown didn't fit, and it never would. Because what they were trying to imitate wasn't something you learned. It was something you were born with. You didn't have to force it, flaunt it, or beg for it to be noticed. It's just who you are. And the truth is, they knew it too. That's why they tried so hard to be like you while pretending they were better than you. At first, they got away with it. To people who couldn't tell the difference, they looked confident, inspired, original. But you knew. Deep down, you recognized your own reflection, just distorted, diluted, and lacking the soul that makes it real. They were wearing pieces of you like borrowed jewelry, hoping no one would notice the shine wasn't theirs. But time exposes what effort can't sustain. Now that seasons have changed, so has perception. People are seeing clearly now. The energy they once faked can't be performed forever. The insight they parroted without understanding has gone dry. The light they pretended to have is flickering out. And what's left is exposure, raw, undeniable, and awkward. They weren't the source. They were a shadow standing too close to the flame. Meanwhile, you never had to compete. You just kept being who you were, even when it was misunderstood. And now the contrast is obvious. You're not just shining, you're rooted, you're not mimicking, you're moving in purpose. And that realization stings more than any clapback ever could, because now they have to face the fact that the crown they wore in pride was never truly theirs. It was a costume, not a calling. And the one they tried to outshine with imitation is the very one who walks in royalty with no effort at all. That truth humbles louder than any spotlight ever will. Number 14. You were their warning, and they called you a joke. They didn't realize you were the red flag they ignored, not because you were a problem, but because your presence pointed to one. You didn't come into their life to be worshipped. You came to wake them up. Your grace was a gift. Your discernment was a mirror. Your resilience was a message in motion. But they were so focused on laughing at the way you moved, they missed the weight of why you were there in the first place. You didn't just show up, you were sent. You carried energy that stirred things in them they weren't ready to face. So instead of asking why they felt exposed, convicted, or uncomfortable around you, they tried to turn you into a punchline. You became the joke they passed around to make themselves feel better, because deep down, something in them knew you were different, and that difference held them accountable. God didn't put you in their life just to be admired. You were a checkpoint, a divine moment, a human message wrapped in flesh and humility. Your presence forced them to choose, grow or mock. And they chose mockery. They were too proud to take you seriously, too insecure to admit you carried something holy, too arrogant to listen to what your life was saying without words. Now life has humbled them, not with revenge but with revelation. The very things they laughed at, the way you moved with purpose, the standards you kept, the things you refused to settle for, are the same things they now realize were signs, warnings, clues. And the shame isn't just because they missed it. It's because they can't go back, they can't rewind and unlaugh, they can't unsee how wrong they were. You didn't need to change, you were never the one off track. They finally see it now. The joke wasn't you, the joke was thinking someone God sent could be dismissed without consequence. They thought you were forgettable, replaceable, laughable, but every twist in your journey has turned that lie into their harshest reality check. You didn't argue for your worth, you embodied it. You didn't beg to be seen, you let your glow do the talking. And now the very people who mocked your process are witnessing your promise unfold in real time. The truth is, you were never seeking revenge, you were becoming proof. And now you stand as the undeniable evidence that obedience outlasts opinion, that alignment is louder than applause, and that purpose will always expose pretense. Let them talk, let them squirm, let them sit in the silence of their misjudgment. Because what God placed in you was never up for debate. It was simply on a divine delay, and now that the curtain has lifted, they're forced to sit in the audience of a show they swore would never happen. So here you are, not bitter, not broken, but better. Rising without asking, winning without gloating, moving without noise. You are the lesson, the light, the reminder, and the revelation. You didn't need validation to walk in your crown. You were born wearing it. And now, every step you take whispers a simple but soul-shaking truth. You should have believed me the first time. If this message hit home, don't just keep it to yourself. Like the video, drop a comment below and share it with someone who needs to hear this truth today. You never know who's silently battling the same storms you've overcome. And if you're tired of surface-level content and you're ready for more real, raw, soul-awakening truth, subscribe to the channel right now. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another divine download. This isn't just a channel, it's a movement. A safe space for chosen ones, truth seekers and spiritual warriors who know they were born for more. Let's grow, heal and rise together. God bless you.